Good as six. Roxanne Cassie B. Hi guys, how are you? DJ Mitchell, Susan, Stephen Bryan, good morning. Bates and Genetics, hello, hello. Daniken, good morning, Daniken. Roger S, hello, hello. Jody, good morning, Jody. Jody Chumento, well, blessings to you, Roger from Spain. So nice to have you with us. Roman Chirac. Ah, in an earlier live stream, you mentioned about not covering more than 10% of the deep substrate with flat rocks. Please expound on this topic as I'm using large flat rocks as rafts to support piles of smaller rocks. I'm close to 25% substrate coverage. It's really an excellent issue and one that is pretty widely misunderstood. Depending on the size of the rock, and for sake of discussion, let's say the rock is 6 inches in diameter, about the size of a softball. As you go in under that rock in a conical fashion, and I don't have any clear understanding of what the angle would be, but it's probably on the order of 45 degrees. As you go down, life from the outside the rock, is able to permeate and receive a certain amount of oxygen into it, which allows the bacteria and microscopic life under that rock within that cone to survive, or outside that cone to survive. Within that cone, it cannot survive. So, what you're creating when you put a flat rock, say a 6 inch flat rock on the bottom, is you're creating a cone of a cone of death, a cone of death, a cone in which oxygen does not permeate, and therefore the animals in the top few inches cannot survive. That makes that much of the top substrate dead material. Now, the impact of that on the rest of the system is very much a function of how much there is. So if you have 10% of a 20-gallon tank, let's say is 24 by 12, it's 240 square inches. You have 24 inches of that covered with rock, and you deduct an inch on each side. So that gives you a 20-inch diameter, 4 by 5, 2 inches deep of dead material. It can be overcome and will be overcome by surrounding life that is able to break that down. So it can become, in effect, an anaerobic environment um, in which the waste is broken down, roots can permeate it, and it can provide nutrition for roots. As that space increases, however, it increasingly limits the ability of the overall substrate to sustain itself as a healthy environment. So I would suggest that 25% would be an outside maximum for the system to be able to effectively sustain itself. I can't recall. This is more commonly a problem in saltwater tanks than it is in freshwater because there's a predilection to create reef structures in saltwater tanks, which amount to putting large rocks on the bottom, thereby creating this dead strata. As the substrate is deeper, it the the impact of that cone is overcome. So if you're going to do 25%, I would add another inch or even 2 inches of substrate, sand preferably, so to increase the surface motion, surface movement, to like 6 inches as opposed to 4 inches, as a way of helping to overcome the effect of these of this coverage of the surface, larger area coverage of the surface. I hope that makes some sense. It's as with everything else, it's really a balancing act. So it's a matter of being cognizant of the effects of what you're doing and trying to find ways to overcome the negative implications of those effects. Susan asks, well, newly added sand cures what pH swings, if any, do you have to watch for? It really depends entirely on on your water on your water conditions. If you're using hard alkaline water with um, a ppm of 100 or better, 100, yeah, probably 100 or better, then your pH is likely to be pretty stable almost no matter what you do. Sand in and of itself is inert and should not affect pH at all. So increasing sand is not going to have, in and of itself, is not going to have a negative effect on pH. Was there more to that question, Susan, that I perhaps missed? Logan's, good morning, Logan's. Cassie B, I'm wondering what is normal to see in the sand in the new setup. Probably the most obvious thing is various kinds of algae building up on the surface of the sand. That would be the most normal thing to see in a new tank, particularly if you're providing, as I recommend, an excess of light early on. That goes away as increasingly, as you add more plants to it, and as the plants begin to really take over the energy dynamics of the water column, that algae, which is opportunistic and very often the the very first kind of organism to establish itself, it will be overcome as other organisms develop a stronger presence in the environment. Let me jump over to YouTube. I'm gonna be able to see these the chat better, and I do want to change this. I haven't done it yet. From top chat to live chat, so I don't miss anybody. And let me go all the way back up to the top and make sure I've got everybody. Well, it didn't go all the way, but that's all right. It went far enough. DJ Mitchell, Roxanne, Stephen, Brian, Bateson, Daniken, Roxanne, hi Roxanne, Jody, Roman Chirac, Susan, Daniken, Logan's, Cassie B. Okay. Marky, hello Marky, Pepplin Creek, good morning. Daniken, Cassie B. Logan's, Roxanne, DJ Mitchell. And he suggested brands for natural looking sand. I'm thinking of starting a tank with sand, but can't find a lot of natural colors. I see a lot of white and black colored sand. I'm going for a natural look. Yeah, I agree with you absolutely, DJ. Pool filter sand is a natural colored sand, but it's a very light color. One of the things that I've done that I like the look of it, is to sprinkle a half inch or so of the tiny river gravel on top of the sand bed. It gives it a really nice appearance, and you can create pathways or other little kind of aesthetic structures with it that makes it more interesting looking. I've not done any work yet on really trying to find and develop different sorts of sands, but surely there are a wide variety of colors available. I do use black. I don't like it because most most fish, or many fish, use it as a way of hiding. They'll go to the bottom, turn black, and not be visible. Um, but there are reds, certainly. There's a green sand that I'm trying to get a lead on to see if I can get somebody from New Jersey to bring me down a half a ton. Um, Cassie B, who wants to hear Father Fish go on a rant today? Uh, you're going to get me triggered. Is that it, Cassie B? Uh, Roger S. Try to mix little pebbles with pull filter sand, creates a nice texture like a river. Yeah, I agree absolutely. It is pretty and it's nice and it looks good. You can kind of keep it on the surface so that so you can see it. Logan says, Father Fish rant. Right. Danny can pull filter sand as more natural color. Yeah, it does. Doesn't pull filter sand take forever to clean, DJ says. No, actually, quite the opposite. Um, the one that takes forever to clean is the um, clay sand that's available at the hardware stores. Clay sand has clay in it, so it's not washed. Pool filter sand is actually washed at the plant where it's bagged, so that it can be put in a swimming pool filter and not create gray water or white water, not create a problem in the swimming pool. So it's really in that sense, it's a higher quality sand. I install pool filter sand directly dry right out of the bag into established tanks. I get a slight cloudiness, which clears up in a matter of hours or a day at the most. So that actually works pretty well. Um, Concrete sand is not bad. It's much finer, and so it has more particulate matter, more fine particulate matter, but it's really not too bad. If you rinse that, dump it in a bucket, the whole bag, stick a hose in it, swirl it around, pour off the cloudy water. You do that once or twice, and you'll be in pretty good shape with it. Roxanne, aqua quartz pool filter sand. I have not used quartz sand, but it certainly would be very, very clean. It's not going to be dusty or dirty at all. And I don't believe the sharp edge, smooth edge controversy has any real merit. I don't believe that sharp edged sand is an issue for anything we're going to put in their tanks. in reality, it gets covered pretty quickly with bacteria, and so that softens the edges within a matter of days. Logan's uses my silica, and Anakin got it. Carib Sea is more tan. That's interesting. Good morning, Wallace Ball. Yeah, Logan said I made the mistake of using play sand in my 125. Took forever to clean it. It does indeed. Sean OOTD. Hello, Sean. Yeah, Cassie B says play sand is finer. If you want softer and finer, use play sand or Carib Sea or the concrete sand. Concrete sand's very fine too. And on that topic, I find that there's really no difference between very fine sand and coarser sand in its ability to sustain a deep sand, a deep substrate culture. In fact, I like the look of the finer sand even better. I set up some tanks years ago with coarse sand, and then because I had some, a finer sand on top. And those tanks somehow did better. So, the finer the better, I think. Logan's pH is neutral. Well, that's interesting, Logan's. I don't know why it should be, unless you've got an inordinate amount of biological activity. And by that, I mean waste breaking down, because that does consume carbonates, which drives down the pH. So I don't know quite why that should be. Your water should be 7.5, not 7.0. If it's 7.0, that could be problematic. If your source water is 7.0, then you probably are going to run into trouble because you probably have water very low in carbonates, which means biological activity is going to further drive down the pH. And once it gets down to 6.5 or so, you can run into serious issues with it bottoming out at 6.0 or even lower. Next time you come in, bring some water. Let's test it. Bring some tap water as well as tank water. WS Discus. I like Carib Sea more expensive, but it's clean and I'm lazy to spend time rinsing it. Looks natural. Yeah, absolutely. J. Rowe. Good morning, Paul. Susan. Reply to question at Father Fish. Okay. Let's see. DJ Mitchell. I've heard Carib Sea Sunset Gold, I think it's called, after a while gets a weird gray color to it. Have any of you experienced this? That's interesting. My hunch is that would be a function of the biological activity of the tank. It may be that the gold is simply not a stable color. It could be organic rather than more stable chemical color. That's interesting. Cassie B. Well, I just lost everything here. My sand has developed a couple of black spots just below the surface. I can see these spots against the glass. I have 1 inch cap and 2 inches near the back. Um, what you can do, it's not a problem. If you don't like the appearance of it, use something the the uh, the edge of your net, a pen, your finger, whatever. Run it along the glass, uh, an inch to an inch and a half into the sand, and it'll clear that up and give you a nice clean look again. Um, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to have to take about a 2 minute break here. I'll be right back as soon as I can. Hang in there. Yeah, right. All right. I had a happy issue of my affliction. I'm back and raring to go. Lord, being old is terrible. Let's see, Susan, when capping old substrate due to high TDS, the TDS dropped 50% and my tap water is 7.2. That's interesting. Huh. Tap water is 7.2. So you're fairly low TDS coming out of the tap, obviously. I don't know what percentage of water you changed, but if it dropped 50%, and your pH is 7.2, then your TDS is probably well under 100. Are you using softened water or are you using water straight from the source? Logan's keeps his pH neutral. How do you do that, Logan's? What do you do to keep it neutral? High Aquatic Conquest. Cassie B. Let's see who's calling here. Father Fish. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. I'm looking at the website. I see your clips today.
Yes.
But I did have a question. Do you have any fried shrimp?
What do you want? Frozen, decapsulated, hatching, live? What do you want?
Well, I mean, my live seahorse just gave birth this morning. I just had a couple more days. And
Okay.
I got, 500 babies.
Right. So you're going to need to be hatching brine shrimp.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, I do have decapsulated brine shrimp eggs that hatch. Are you nearby?
Yes, I'm just right down here in Englewood. And was actually for a couple seahorses I bought from you a couple months ago. Yeah, man, it's awesome. I mean, I can't believe he let loose this morning.
That's fabulous. Well, I'll tell you what you can do here in Englewood.
Yes.
What I would do right away is get the finest mesh net you can come up with and get out into the bay onto a grass flat and swish it through the grass and start collecting very small stuff. There's a lot of it there. You'll easily get enough to feed your animals. You're not to feed the babies. You may need to go ahead. You may need to grade it, run it through a coarser net first to get the larger stuff out in order to get down to the finer, the tinier. What were you going to say?
Well, just see, I live right here. I'm about 100 yards from Lemon Bay, and I go down every day to feed the seahorses. I get the little grass strip with my full skimmer net.
Fabulous. Right. You need something. Yeah, you need something finer than that.
Yeah.
So what you can do is a couple of ways to do this. A bag in a bag is kind of the way to do it. I'll tell you what, do it this way. Take a jar when you go down there and pull up hands full of plant material and put it in the jar and shake it real hard. And do that a couple of times and you'll get a lot of tiny stuff that the babies. Exactly. That's right. That's what the babies need. Now, in the meantime, you need to be hatching brine shrimp because you're going to need a lot of food, and that's really the key to it. But if you'll do that, that'll get you some immediate food for the babies. And keep,
for the
and-
awesome advice. And,
yes, yeah, and I've got exactly what you need to be able to hatch out brine shrimp.
yes, the first time, a couple years ago, we took picnics to the line.
They're baby. You've got baby pygmies. Wow.
These are line sequences, but I mean, even bigger ones.
Oh yeah, got it. Okay, okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, I'm looking for pygmies. I'm gonna be down. I'm gonna be in Boca later this morning. We're gonna be collecting in Boca in an hour or so.
I'll start keeping them and I'll bring it to you when I catch it when I have to,
Oh, I love it.
you know.
Love it.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. I'll give you store credit for them.
Okay, thanks, big guy. Thanks for that good advice. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to come get some of the dried brine. And,
Yeah, now these are hatching. I'm going to give you the hatching brine. So you'll be able to set up a hatchery and be able to feed them live brine. Okay, great. Good luck to you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, you bet. Bye bye.
Bye.
Well, that's neat. I don't know if you guys heard that. Guy has seahorses he bought from me a while back that just had a couple of hundred babies. So he's trying to figure out how to feed them. So we'll see if that works out for him. Let's see. Cassie B talking about jar tanks. Thank you, Peplin, for listing the Get Gills site. Lee, hello, Lee. Nice to see you. Jeffrey Watts. Good morning, Jeffrey. Jay Rowe, I have some small stream stones in my stream, but they're frangible, possibly shell based. So I'm concerned with them muddying the water. They're probably going to be fine. If they're in a stream, then they're not likely to muddy anything. Shake them out, rinse them good before you put them in. It should not be a problem. And any particulate matter that comes off of them should precipitate into the substrate pretty quickly and easily. I don't think you ought to worry about that. Jay. Well, yeah, Peplin's talking about Kenny's fish fam journey. That just is so sounds like great fun. And I hope you can make it into Florida, Kenny. Roxanne. J.I. said shale breaking the smaller pieces, but did not muddy it. Paul C. uses concrete sand. Concrete sand is great. It's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I've used it and I like it. Yeah, I agree, Danny Ken. It's going to be an epic tour. Just real excited about it. And I hope you can make it to Florida. Chubbs, hello, Chubbs. Nice to see you. Holly Gibbs. Hi, Holly. Gardening and lurking. Hat Trick Farm. Hat Trick. Let's see. I got stuff off to you. That was not recent though, was it? That was a week or two ago. Just got your internet back. Well, yeah, we missed you. Nice to have you back, Hat Trick. Lee is saying, Chubb, Sue would like to talk with you about your boat. She has 2 yachts and loves the sea. I do too, but I get seasick. Not if it's normal, but if it's wild and crazy, it's all over. Peplin Creek sitting in his shop watching Father Fish. The Massey report is here. Good morning. Rose here. Hit the like button. High Road. Aquatic Conquest. Moon dust is a great substrate. However, it's hard to come by. If you could obtain it, one would think it would be expensive. I was told this by a flat earther. Well, all right. Moon dust. Works for me. Moon dust. I don't know. Does that have footprints in it? What is it? Aquafunk is here. Hello, Aquafunk. Nice to see you. Logan's uses chemicals. If you're dropping your pH with chemicals, that's really pretty risky. I would not do that unless you've got an awfully good reason to do it. And the kind of fish you have really don't call for that. The possibility of that tank dropping through the floor is more than minimal. It's important to avoid the use of chemicals at all costs. There are times when it's necessary, but to try to achieve a neutral pH is not doing yourself, your tank, or your fish any favors. A high pH is preferable to a low pH. Keep it at 7.0. There's no advantage to keeping your water neutral. None at all. Chubbs, good morning, Kenny and I. And Noah just got home last night. Peplin, good morning. Let's see. The greetings are on. Love to talk to Sue about boots, Chubb says. Oh, come on now. Boy, I just jumped 20 down here. Or more. Hi, Robo. Robocop, nice to see you. All right. I accidentally reduced the anti-chlorine. Will it affect my fish? No, it will not. Sodium thiosulfate is the active ingredient, and it's a salt. In high dosages, it will increase the hardness of the water marginally. It's not dangerous at all. WS Discus. Water is 7.0, so carbonates are low and can have serious problems without crushed oyster coral. It's frustrating. I can't choose fish that like alkaline water. Um, the crushed oyster and crushed coral are good. You can also add baking soda. Um, it doesn't sustain it long term, but it's a good short term fix and will hold stability for a week or more, giving the oyster a chance to kind of catch hold. You can also try grinding the oyster shell if you have a way to do that, kind of make a powder out of it. And you can also add um, um, powdered calcium. It's available in fish stores or saltwater systems, and that also will get and hold the pH up higher. Yeah, it won't be a problem unless you put in half the bottle. Even that, I don't think it would affect anything. I mean, I sell the crystals, and 20 of these crystals are equal to, oh, I don't know, probably um, a cup full of the liquid. And I use them kind of indiscriminately. I recommend a certain dosage, but I don't pay that much attention to it. Jobs has loaded a video for Lee. Dechlorinator can increase CO2, so make sure you have an air stone. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Live TV show starring Father Fish, says Aquatic Conquest. Thank you, Aquatic. Susan is back. All right, now Lee's saying he has baby neon tetras. I have them on video. Well, we got to see it to believe it. pH on tap, Logan says it's 7.2. Your water is treated to get it down that low. The water in this part of Florida comes out 7.5 to 8.0. So that's interesting. Bring some of your tap water in when you come up next. Let's check it. Yeah, you need to add carbonates to your water, Logans. Alkaline buffer, that's good. Roe is trying to wake up. J-Dog, we heard it. Father Fish, I don't know what you're talking about. I've used baking soda a few times. It works pretty well, WS. Omnipotence, Carib Sea, has a tendency to compact like plate sand and cause anaerobic dark spots if more than an inch deep. PFS tends to work better, that's pull filter sand, and not compact as much. Small BB size, BB gun size gravel works well too. I've never seen gravel that small. Mine is bigger than that. The small gravel. I'd like to try BB size gravel. That would be interesting. Logan's drops the pH and then neutral regulator keeps it at a constant 7.0. Yeah, you're depending on chemical treatment to maintain the stability of your tank, and that's fine until you don't, or until something happens, and then it's out of whack. And that's when fish suffer. That's why I promote a natural environment that and sustains itself and maintains its own balance. Aquatic Conquest is talking about Lee, who used to be confused, but now I know he's brilliant. Most people who are confusing are brilliant. And knowing Lee, the little bit I do, leads me to believe that his genius has dare I say it, a darker side. Not that he's a dark figure, but he is a jester and he will wreak chaos willy nilly. Logan's is not sponsored by Seachem. I just use their products. Danican. Oh, we're looking forward to it, Danican. It will be wonderful to see you. Okay. Well, Lee's saying he has baby neons. Do I leave him or start feeding? Well, any food you put in there is not going to help the babies. The food they need is microscopic. They need paramecium culture. So unless you want to develop that, which is not hard to do, you simply put a blanched lettuce leaf in a jar of tank water, put it in the windowsill for a day or two until it becomes cloudy, and then feed that cloudy water to your tank. That's paramecium, and that's what tiny babies need to survive. Last week's order, yeah, Hattrick. I assume that came in okay. It's a lot of plants. Roxanne, I tested my well water yesterday because my plants have started struggling. KH and GH have gone from 8 to 13. Is this the reason? Fish are fine, but plants are looking rough. Probably not. Plants tend to like water that's harder. It's depending on the type plants you have. Stem plants, for example, or rooted plants are not going to have trouble with increased hardness in the water. In fact, they're going to prefer it. There's something else going on. And by struggling, what do you mean exactly? Have they slowed down growing? Are they turning brown? Are you losing some plants? What's happening? What does struggling mean? TDS Susan, out of tap is 80, change 80%. Added 2-inch black sand blasting sand. When the TDS dropped 50%, you should be okay. That's a low TDS. What's your pH, Susan? Cassie B. Can you test GH, Roxanne? As well as pH. Agreed. Wallace Ball, will neon babies eat green water? Yes. Yeah, I agree, Cassie. I don't do a lot of salt. And the main problem with adding salt is that people tend to add it routinely, and all you're doing is creating the Dead Sea. Well, we jumped 25 down again. All right. Aquatic wants to know if Paul is housing Africans. Yeah, it should not be a problem, Cassie B. Um, I want to know what your concern with the plants is, what they look like. Calcium liquid, Rose using calcium liquid. Yeah, I like it. If you have low pH or low carbonates, liquid calcium is a big help. Be somewhat ginger about using it. Don't go crazy. Yeah, Rose saying it leaves a mess. And Aquatic Conquest is agreeing. You can add me to that list. Cassie B wants to know what fish Roxanne is keeping. Yellow Submarine, 615. Hello, hello. J Dog Lee is one lab accident away from being a supervillain. Yeah, after watching that live stream last night, I got to agree. Got to agree. Fortunately, he doesn't have much of a lab, so we may be safe. Baits and genetics. How often and how much salt do you actually add to freshwater tanks? Going on my question from yesterday. Um, I do not add salt to my tanks. Just as a matter of course, I don't do it. The only time I use salt is when I have a disease, injury, or other problem uh, requiring setting up a hospital tank. My water is hard. It's plenty hard enough. I don't need to be adding salt to it. All salt does is increase the hardness. Massive report. Oh, I guess responding to J Dog saying they called them a village idiot or a court jester. All right, Jay. Museums, pair of museums or triple museums. What are you referring to? I'm at a loss there. Oh, Roxanne, KCB, I'm keeping celestial pearl danios, zebra danios, bristlenose plecos, mystery snails, and Julie Corys in my planted tank and Backmoors in my pond. Really nice collection of fish. I love celestial pearls, and they can be a little tricky. So if you're keeping them in nice shape, you're doing real well. Howard Van Tassel, hello. Nice to see you. Oh, okay. Patrick is saying she's not received the shipment. Well, okay, I thought I just sent one out. You should get it today. Today, Wednesday, I shipped Monday. So you should get it. I think I did. I'm pretty sure I shipped you Monday. You'll get it this week in any case. And do let me know how it comes in. Look, that's a neon. Baby neons are microscopic. I mean, literally microscopic. You're not going to see them without some kind of a hand lens. They're that tiny. You've got some kind of a baby live bearer. Omnipotence or any of Henry Cole's fish still around at the Baltimore Aquarium? Gee whiz. I don't know. I'm just trying to think what was there. It's possible red-tailed catfish or shovel nose. He had both, and they went into the collection. So if they've got a really big red tail or a big shovel nose, that could very well be Henry Hall's fish. We put piranha in their red bellies, which are now bigger than dinner plate size, and I believe those are original. So yeah, possibly piranha. And I think they're in the atrium. Good question. I don't know that anyone there would know either. It's possible they've tracked it, but pretty unlikely. I would certainly lay claim on Henry Hall's behalf to any big catfish that are in there. Anything over 3 foot long is likely his. Lisa Perez, good morning, Lisa. Nice to see you. Okay, Roxanne saying the stem plants have slowed growth and the contortion and Italian vales are melting back some. Yeah, the melting is somewhat troublesome. I think the issue with valves and sag is that they tend to use up nutrients pretty quickly and then go into a slowdown phase. Um, it's one of two things. Either they have depleted available nutrients, or they've achieved a maximum balance in the tank. In other words, they've grown out so much that they've achieved a kind of stasis. It's one of the issues that I've been struggling with Lee and his tank. He's wanting to trim it all the time. He's already done it, and now he's talking about doing it again. I personally am opposed to trimming. Now, I realize there are aesthetic issues at stake. And that's a big part of why people maintain their tanks to keep a certain aesthetic proportion. Um, but what I've discovered is that plants will max out in a tank and achieve a kind of a permanent stasis where they'll stay at that level indefinitely. But if you cut them back, then it reduces their ability to jump back up again because there's limited nutrition in the substrate to be able to do that. One of the things you can do, um, Roxanne, is we 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 have some. I haven't tried installing it yet, but try mixing some soil, some enriched soil in freezer trays, and try jamming some ice cubes, uh, enriched soil ice cubes, deep in the substrate. See if that helps. You can do it. If you do it carefully, you can do it without creating a mess. We're doing the tiny, um, little tiny cubes rather than the big ones. So, it might be red root floaters have died off. If the red root floaters have died off, then that's a nutrition issue in the water column. Um, and that's a whole other issue. Deep substrate systems tend not to be particularly effective with floating plants. You'll almost have to dose for floating plants. And red root seem to be at one end of that continuum where they are considerably more sensitive to reduction in nutrition in the water column. This is Frank. Let's see. Hi, Frank.
I'm on my way to the grand. I'm getting ready to jump on the gutter and stuff like that.
Okay, you're going to beat me there. I've not left yet. I'll be leaving in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
So
I'll stop and grab some ice. Oh crap! I did not bring a cord. I have no cord.
I do. I'll get it. Don't worry about it.
Well, then let me grab water then. And you grab ice. I'll grab water. What else we gonna need, bro? Well, I some fish. Grab that other fish out here. So we have 2 each.
Okay. I'll see you there.
All right, bud.
I'll call you.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, I'm meeting Frank down south. We're going to do saltwater today, so I will be doing a live stream. Probably it will be earlier than 3 o'clock because I'm going to do it as soon as we can get in the water and start finding stuff. I'm also, if I can find it, going to take a GoPro and try to do some film with that, some video. So let me run through the rest of this real quick, and then I need to get off of here because I've got about an hour's drive to meet him. Roxanne. Yeah, it may very well be that if your tank has been set up for a while, that your nutrition has been depleted and hasn't been picked up by a breakdown in waste. So you might try kind of forcing the issue. I'll get on this more tomorrow. It's a really critical issue, and it's one I want to investigate and look at more deeply. Um, I'm not satisfied with what I've said to you so far. So do what you can. Do some water changes. That if you haven't, that should help. Um, Try to find ways to add some nutrition. Um, let's see. Yeah, Denikin's going on a month-long vacation. Lee, if I had a lab while you all are crying about the end of the world, I'd be saving it. When I do, I'll make sure you all laugh about it. Um, yeah, I'd be more afraid um, of your lab bringing about the end of the world than saving it. Baitsin, short-term deal for helping newer fish that seem to have stress illness, using lots of heat and wanting to help build up a coat. Yeah, that's good. And salt does help build up slime coat. It's one of the primary reasons for using it, but make it short term. Do once you've got it in there for a week or so, then do water changes to bring it back down. A row is saying aloe can help. I've never used aloe. It's theoretically helpful. I don't think it's going to cause any problems. Let's see. Aquatic conquest. Um, yeah, live bears are very suitable to hard water conditions. They do extremely well in hard water. Yeah, a quarter-inch fish is not a baby neon. A quarter-inch is a baby live bear. A baby neon would be a 32nd of an inch. Bye bye. Take care, Betsy. Cassie B. Root tab. Excellent. Was going to say root tab. Can use easy green for floaters. Yeah, those are helpful. Um, yeah, and root tabs are pretty good. I use Osmocote. The problem with Osmocote is it tends to float up to the surface of the sand. It's hard to keep it down deep. Gnarly fish. Hello, hello. All right, I need to jump down here because I need to get going. Ah, thank you, Aquatic Conquest. Trump 2020, yes, indeed. Chevy Fish was going to post it, Roe, if you were. Hi, Chevy Fish. I need to call you. Let me set up a live real quiche, Rose says. Fun. All right, we've hit bottom. God bless you all. I'll be on a little later today. Not sure what time. I'm going to keep it kind of open because I want to be able to show interesting stuff being caught. So hopefully that'll happen, and we'll be able to do a little more live streaming today. For now, take care. God bless everybody. Be well, and see you all shortly. Bye for now.